From the Teutonic majesty of Hockenheim, we transition ourselves to the Wisconsin Dells and set our feet firmly upon Nationals Park of Speed, Road America. Another challenge for our drivers to complete, but with the heat racing format, how will they fare in a series where quite possibly anything can happen? Hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of the OBS Super Cup series brought to you here live. My name is DJ Clark, going to be walking you through the race details here for today around this nearly 4-mile circuit located in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It is fast, it is flowing, it is technical, it is challenging, and overall it is the site of today's race as we get ready to go here for another day of OBS Super Cup racing. Bringing the way around here, qualifying could be key, but maybe not as key as possible, considering the many places to overtake around here, going down the long straightaways that constitute either the front stretch or the back stretch or the run down into Canada Corner. From the Moraine sweep down into Turn 5 that we take a look at right now, this place is raft with places to make a move or to get it wrong. The carousel there, another featured section that we will be talking about in these Porsche 992 Cup cars, as it is going to be very tricky to get right today. And there, as we take a look at the ever-fearsome, ever-challenging kink, let's bring you around to this track.
Welcome to Road America. Welcome to the second round of the OBS Super Cup, and we've got a lap here in behind the wheel of the Porsche 992 GT3 Cup that these drivers will be running down into turn 1. It's a big braking zone down into third gear. It's a super fast turn, and the curb on the outside may just catch you out because there's grass right after it. Then braking down into turn 2. It's another very difficult one, and going out quite wide here. Again, those curbs are so tricky around this circuit. It's not often you see on circuits nowadays that you've got grass right after the asphalt, but here, well, at Road America, the grass is very tricky. Hardest braking zone of the circuit, from 6th gear down into 2nd. Bit of a lockup there on the braking, and then on power as early as you can, using everything there is on the exit. Now up the hill and slide brake, trying to not lock the tires up. It's a big uphill with kind of a jump there at the top. Then a super fast turn, you kind of lifting off a little bit, and then using everything there is on the exit, even touching the grass a little bit there. Now braking down into another 2nd gear turn, and now on to the longest turn of the track, and probably the most difficult one, the carousel. You're coming in super fast and touching the brake a little bit down into 3rd gear, and then get on power as early as you can, because now the exit is super important, using the curb again on the outside. Fastest turn on the circuit, the super fast right-hander, the kick here. You're lifting off and then back on full power. It's so difficult in the Porsche Cup car. And now on to 6th gear and into the final difficult braking zone of the circuit. Hard on the brakes and down into 2nd gear. You're trying to get the car turned in and trying to get on the power as early as you can, using every little bit of curb on the outside. Then slight lift through the left and then back on power. It's so blind. If a car crashes in front, you're never going to see it. And now into the final turn, very tricky braking zone, and then on the power all the way out on the curb, and now up on the long front straight. A little bit of a rest for the drivers. This will be an incredible circuit for action. You won't want to miss this.
Pursue your automotive passion, thrive, and make money.
And that was a look around Road America. Let's go ahead and take a look at our championship standings there. First off, in the pro categories, is Alexander Walton leading the way over Tony Ryan and Marius Cepas, Joe Mantis, and Jataudis there, really up in the top 5. The big one to keep an eye on, though, is going to be those top 4 there, as that's where the majority of the points are going to be coming from, and it looks like that is going to be where the battle is to be had. Walton obviously maximizing on points from that last setting as we continue to look look down through the order, Ruzicka, Kundala, Spetkin, Hammer, you can see all of them there. We also do have the Pro-Am and the Am Championship here for you, and we'll be bringing those in just a short amount of time, as there is the Pro-Am standings. DePepe leading the way over Zelinskis there by only a single point. Corey Lazarus not too far behind as well. Samuel Sproul not in too far back. Barica also within striking distance, as is Berger. From there on back, we start to transition into a little bit of the mid-pack as everybody runs, and you can see how that kind of tightens up there, but about a 6-car fight up for the top of the field. And then into the Am standings, it is Ignis leading the way over Navikas by about 11 points. Arbonus not too far behind there as well. Nice little battle starting to play itself up for third place, with Veilman and Andreas there down in the order as well. So keep an eye on those. Obviously, only one round down in all of those standings. So we'll have to see how everything continues to shake itself out a little bit later on. But there is your current pro leader right now, Alexander Walton, down in 29th place overall, about 8 seconds off of the fastest time. But I've got to be thinking here that probably putting himself in a good position here, setting up for a second lap. Track temperatures are pretty toasty right now. They're about 110 degrees Fahrenheit out on track as it is. And so we'll have to see if that's going to factor into these drivers' equations a little bit, and they are able to do themselves around. As right now, there is Walton working his way through turn 6, a very tricky corner, easy to get wrong if you're there. Is it's really only a one-lane go. Is about 2 minutes left to go here in qualifying, and just as a reminder, qualifying will set the grid for our heat races. Then we will have those last chance qualifiers. Then we will have the final here before everything is said and done. 3-lap heats around Road America, and that'll take a good probably 6 to 8 minutes there, depending on how quickly these drivers are able to get their around. We watch Vince Peters right now, the number 45, up at the front of the field with a time of 2:07.860, leading the way in that number 45 machine, and bringing his way around here through Bill Mitchell Bend. This can sometimes be a little bit of a tricky corner for a couple of drivers. You just get things a little bit wrong and find yourself out of whack there, out of sync as you go down through those lines, and they will continue to go, and they will bring their way across right now. There's about a minute left to go. I think Vince Ravisca's here not going to be able to finish the time on the board. Philip Hammer's going to jump his way up into P2. Now Vince Peters reclaims that title back up into P1. A great run there for the 45 with the 2:07.610. That'll be your fastest time. But there, your championship leader in the pro category, Alexander Walton, back up to the top of the charts with a time of 2:06.991. A great run there by Walton to put himself up. Peters is going to call that a day, not able to improve there, as we now watch the 176 bringing his way down into the corner. As here we take a look a little bit farther back down into the field. Drivers continuing to try to get those times down on the board. The number 13 right here, this is Tim Bresky, as he works his way around, trying to see if they can pick up a little bit more time here at this point. Trying to see there out of turn 7. This is going to be an area when we get to the racing itself that things are going to go a little bit back and forth. You could see a little bit of trading positions back down through the hurry downs. That's what this section of the track is called. Is now the number 13 going to work his way into the carousel, but not going to have any time down on the board, because that is qualifying done and dusted. And we are going to be ready to move right on in to take a look at the qualifying results. Walton, Peters, Ryan, and Hammer, Baumler, those pros up at the top of the category. It's going to be Nicholas Maynard leading the way there for that Pro-Am category. Klipkas not too far behind them. They are in 12th place. Then it's going to be Vince Ravicius leading the way in the Am category in 13th position. But as we get ourselves going here out on track, getting ready to bring the field around and allow for this whole field to get themselves sorted out. Remember, it will be a standing start around here to get things going. So that's going to be a huge call for these drivers, as there you can see them starting to line up on the grid as we speak, bringing their way up forward as we wait here for, it looks like Walton, Baumler, Berger, and Bagonis. They are the only 4 that have yet to grid up and be able to take their way onto the grid at the moment, as there they go, trying to be able to see who is going to be able to grid in time. They've only got about 50 seconds left before the grid is set, and they're going to have to get going. By the way, I can get a look here at this point. We will be having 4 heat races around Road America, so certainly something to look forward to there. 4 heat races, as there is Alexander Walton up at the front of the field in that Simsa Esports machine, the familiar black and orange livery that dominated that first round. Will he have luck here today, or will something maybe come back to befall him and come back to bite? We don't have too long to wait to find out. As there, the rest of the grid is there, and I'm hearing word that that qualifying was a track record for Walton, so very impressive feat. And there come the lights on, and there they go. We are racing here in Road America. Talk about a great getaway there from Walton. Looks like Baumler's a little bit bogged down there at the line, and that's going to be Maynard, Petrovicius, and Vincerovicius trying to be able to fight his way forward. Almost 3 wide there, farther in the back, as they move their way now through turn 1 for the first time, trying to see what they're going to be able to get to go. They finally get themselves into single file order here as they work their way down into turn 3. We take a look there at the restart as everyone tries to form themselves up. You can see that big bogging down that certainly happened there with Baumler behind, but somehow Baumler able to hold on to it. A little bit of contact there. I think that was Begonis getting into a little bit of problem farther back in the field here at this point. But now up at the front, Alexander Walton under a little bit of pressure here from Lars Baumler as they dive down into the corner farther back in the field. That's going to be Vermillion trying to be able to make a little bit of a move on Pencherovicius, and that is going to be a car off. That is Ignis way off into the gravel there, getting it wrong coming down through turn 5. He looks like he's going to be able to escape without a whole lot of damage, but bringing himself back around here at this point as we take a look again. Up at the front of this field, Walton trying to hold off Baumler here to the best of his ability, trying to see if he is going to be able to hold that out here at this point, or if there's going to be a little bit of problem farther back in the field. We take a look on board with the 245. I think that was just too much speed down into the corner for Vincerovicius there. Just a little bit too much speed, and that was enough to send him around. Alexander Walton, though, up at the front of the field, continuing to lead, growing that gap by about 0.6 of a second. Maynard behind him, about 0.9 of a second behind Baumler. So the top 3 really starting to spread themselves out here a little bit. We've got a nice little battle shaping up farther back in the field, though. This is Misha Berger and Edgaris Razanaukas here going down side by side into Canada corner. That's going to be the 129 trying to make a work around the outside. Is that going to play itself out? No, it's not. And it looks like that is going to be Misha Berger able to hold on to that position in the 105 for the moment. But something tells me this battle is not yet done, because now they have Razanauskas behind them as well in that number 129 trying to work his way forward, seeing if he's going to be able to get a gun. But it could be Berger here that's going to be back into the catbird seat as they try to be able to close down on the back here of Vermillion, trying to see if there is a run to be had on the 291 of Xander right now. Now remember, this is going to be an inter-class battle. This is not for positioning class. Sends it down to the inside, does the 105 of Berger, but thinks a little bit better of it. Is going to back out coming out of turn 1 as here they come down into turn 3. Now this is all about setup, how you're going to be able to set this car up for the run down the Moraine sweep here. The draft going to be so crucial to try to get themselves set into a good position. Here they come. That 105 lurking in the background mirror here at this point. Not quite close enough to get a run, but nevertheless, Vermillion going to have to go defensive there on the 291, trying to see if they're going to be able to cover anything off. That's not going to play, and it looked like that defensive move was a little bit for naught there from the 291 of Vermillion. Oh, Lars Baumler has had a problem up in front, and it looks like Baumler got it wrong going through turn 6, and that's going to throw him off and put him back down in the order, all the way back down into 4th place here as they run. But we keep our eyes focused on this battle as Vermillion tries to be able to hold off that attack there from Berger. Berger continues to look this way and that way. As we take a look at the replay, that just looked like a classic little bit of understeer there for the 47 of Baumler, and I think that was enough to just send him out, and that'll bump him back down into 4th place overall. Misha Berger now goes from being the attacker to the attacked here as Razanauskas is going to be right behind him, trying to put pressure on, trying to carry as much speed as possible through the kink. You've got to be careful if you're following that close behind, but it appears there that Edgaras looks like he's able to make it work. A little bit of a defensive line from Berger coming down into Canada corner. He's able to defend everything off here at this point, and they've got to make it work now as they're going to be charging to the white flag on this time by. White flag this time by as we take a look here out the back of Misha Berger's car, and he's able to stretch a little bit of a gap between himself and the number 129. But now it's going to be all of a fight here with Vermillion. Is he going to be able to get the best line that he is? As the white flag does fly in the air at this point. 1 lap to go here for all drivers in the first of 4 heat races today as they bring their way across the start-finish line. Draft coming into play there for the 105. That's going to be a defensive line from Vermillion, trying to see if he's able to hold on to it. Is going to be able to hold on to it there through corner 1 as here they go into turn 3. Is this going to be the run here that Misha Berger needs to be able to set this up? Let's see. It looks like a pretty good line off of turn 3 as they work their way through the Moraine sweep right now. The gap coming down under 0.2 of a second. Berger pushing with everything he's got here at this point as Sander up in front of him goes very defensive. A late move off to the inside. That's going to force Berger around to the outside as they dive down into turn 5. Not able to get that to play. Looks for the over-under there a little bit. He's going to have the line coming out of turn 5. It can be a little bit treacherous to go too wide through turn 6, but Misha Berger not to be denied. Able to move their way on up into 5th place. A textbook maneuver there for Misha Berger in that 105 machine. You love to see that, and don't look now, but Razanauskas is also going to be taking a little bit of a play here, but we've got another battle farther up in the field. This is Petskrovicius on a fight here with Lars Baumler. Remember, Baumler out of position here at this point, trying to gain his way back up through the field. He's going to be putting pressure here to the back of the 145 as they work their way through the kink right now, trying to see if he's going to be able to have a little bit of a run here. The gap coming down under 1/10.5. It's going to be under 1/10 of a second as they work their way through Kettle Bottoms. I've got to think the run is coming here from Baumler. He's going to have to go the long way around Canada corner as that is going to be Petrovicius holding him out, but it looks like momentum will come back to favor Lars Baumler, and that will be able to put him up into P3 for the moment. But the story here up at the front of the field, Alexander Walton doing exactly what he did in the previous round. No contest here as the number 17 climbs the world-famous hill at Road America and crosses over the start-finish line to take victory in heat number 1. Nicholas Maynard will follow in behind, and we should have known from the very beginning that this was a sight to behold as Walton actually broke the all-time lap record here in GT cars on that last lap, on that qualifying lap rather. So Walton clearly has some speed and pace underneath him here today, and that was a very, very impressive run for the number 17. Maynard and then Baumler will round out your podium positions as it looks like there the 299 of Skardinskis is going to come across the line, and there we take a look at that final finishing order on the top of your screen. But Walton able to take the way. Maynard a very good result in that Pro-Am category. Then Vermillion able to hold on to P6, which ended up being that final AM category for today. A very good run there for them, and you can take a look at all of that now. But it is already ready for heat race number 2 as everyone starts to form their way onto the grid. Vince Peters going to be leading the way in this ahead of Marius Sipis, Joey Petrick, and Arimas Zelinskis up in your top 4. Then it's going to be Kundalis in 5th, Kirpus, Vilius, Jazowski, Paralowskis, Brisky, and Piznaskis there in the top 11. That is what your field will be made up here today of. We're just waiting right now for Petrick and Kundalis to make their way onto the grid as they are certainly have taken their time, but they've got plenty of time left to go here if they still want it. Trying to see what they are able to get done as the lights are ready to come on. And there is the sign that all cars are on the grid. 3 lights up as there goes the green, and we are racing here in Road America. Looks like Petrick and Kundelis did not actually take to the grid there at that point, but look at this. Vince Peters already feeling the pressure from behind from Marius Cepas. It looks like for Kundelis and Petrick, that's going to be a pit lane start for the both of them. Cepas trying to heap on the pressure here early on to take that lead away from Vince Peters. These two pro category drivers up at the top of the field really starting to duke it out here at this point. Little bit of a look to the inside there for Marius Cepas. That's not going to play itself out, and he's going to have to fall into single file order here as they work their way down the long moraine sweep. There's a little bit of a gap back to Zelinskis here at this point, but Kirpus is going to be holding on close behind him as long as Villius and Bresky there as well. We keep our eyes fixed on the front as it looks like there may have been a little bit of a move, but nothing to play there. Villius and Kirpus going to be side by side down into the corner. Later on the binders goes Vacaris Villius, and that is going to be Villius off into the kitty litter. And we've also had another off from Zelinskis, I think, spinning in sympathy there, and that has caused absolute chaos a little bit farther back down in the order here at this point. But up the front of the field, Vince Peters continues to lead. Let's take a look again at this replay. You can see there just misses it, and then this is going to be Zelinskis, who I think just tries to get on the loud pedal there while still going up and over those rumble strips, and that was going to be enough for him to send him off and spinning off into the distance, and that's really separated out a couple of our close battles here at this point. Vince Peters and Marius Cepas going to be separated by about 0.8 of a second. This is our best battle that we have right now. Arturas Kundelis and Joey Petrick. This is going to be the battle for P7. These are 2 pro category drivers, a little bit buried down in the order, it has to be said, but they are certainly trying to fight their way forward and see what they are able to do and see if there is anything to be had. Kundelis also closing down in front of them on Mantis in the 292 right up ahead to try to see if there's going to be maybe a 3-car fight here to break out before this heat race is done. Here they go down through that final corner, and Artie, you can see that gap between Mantis and Kundelis starting to close down a little bit more, starting to get a little bit closer. Peters setting the fastest lap of the race that time around, not to be too surprised there. Cepas keeping close distance behind, but now here comes Kundelis. That's forcing Arturas down to, that's forcing Mantis rather down to the inside. Let's see if Mantis is going to be able to make that play. I'll tell you what, Joey Petrick spied an opportunity, and Petrick is able to sneak by on Arturas Kundelis. A great heads-up play there from the 97, and now it's going to be Petrick that's going to be putting pressure here to the back of Arturas Kundelis, as both of them were able to slip on by Mantis there. And so now here they come down the long moraine sweep. There is your provisional grid there. The outside runners, Walton, Cepas, Kundelis as they run. No movement there. Coming down into the braking zone for turn 5. It looks like everything is going to be staying there. Nice and easy. Little bit of a wide run there for Kundelis up in front, but he's able to gather it up back under him and keep going. Now as they work their way through the hurry downs, trying to see if there will be a fight here. We check back on the number 123. This is Villius trying to be able to get by Mantis again, as it looks like that number 292 is losing a lot of speed here in the latter stages of this race. Just clearly something not working out to the liking of that AM-rated 292 in front of them. Villius obviously being a Pro-Am driver here at this point, he's going to have a little bit of an advantage in outright pace, I would have to believe. But he's going to be trying to put pressure here, coming through the kink. We already talked about how difficult that is to run nose astern there. We get a nice little split screen as we take a look on board. Trying to see if there's going to be any run to be had here. Looks like that's going to be Kundelis making a little bit of an error, and Joey Petrick says, thank you very much. I will make that work going through Canada Corner, and now that is going to be Joey Petrick up into 6th place. He's going to have his eyes on Martinez there right ahead of him, as that gap has already closed down to under 0.4 of a second, and the white flag is in the air here for Vince Peters, who's able to set another fastest lap of the race as they work their way on by. Trying to see here if he's going to be able to get anything to go, though, is Joey Petrig. Trying to see there, parking that car in the middle of the track is Martinez, trying to see if he's able to do it. Petrig forces his nose down to the inside there, going into turn one. They're going to be side by side, and it looks like there that Joey Petrig, by sheer force of will alone, is able to make that work, as here they go. And here they are able to get it, and that is going to be a good run. But does Kundalis have anything in store here at this point? Does he have a response? What are they able to do? What are they able to get to play? And here they go. We take a look there on that split screen coming down into turn 5. One of the great overtaking opportunities on this track, but it just doesn't quite look like it's going to work out there. Kundalis now taking a little bit of a look to the inside there of the 208, trying to see if he's going to get that to go. He's got a nose ahead by the time they work into turn 7. Can be later on the binders to make that work. It certainly looks like he can, and that is Arturas Kundalis back up into P6. A great move there for that lime yellow, number 92, lime green, I should say 92. A very, very good run there for them. It's going to separate out of probably our best battle here at this point, as Vince Peters is going to be pulling away once again at the front of this field. The Visceral Esports driver doing a fantastic job to just be able to scream away here. A gap of 1.6 seconds, not nearly as impressive of what we saw out of Walton the last time of asking, but nevertheless a good run here, and this will automatically advance him on into that feature race, and that will be able to bring him on forward. So the 45 here coming now out of Bill Mitchell Bend into the final corner here at this point. He gets on the loud pedal, maybe a little bit of a squeal out of those rear tires as he got onto the throttle there coming out of the final corner, but he will climb the hill, and it's going to be Vince Peters that will take victory here in heat race number 2. Marius Cepas not too far behind Tim, and Tim Bresky will round out your top 3 here today. Ericus Kerpis will be in P4, followed by Joey Petrig. Then it's Kundalis, Martinez, and we want to give credit there to Ericus. That is up 2 positions on the day. A very, very good run there for that number 2 machine. Also, Tim Bresky up 7 positions. A stonking start to this race. Very, very good stuff there from them, as that will look like the last driver is going to cross over the line there. That is Zelenskis to cross on over, and that is going to bring us here to our final finishing order from heat race number 2. There you can say Paragalaskas able to take the victory there in that AM category. Kerpis able to take victory in the Pro-Am, and obviously Vince Peters able to take victory there in the Pro category. And that's going to go ahead and lead us on here into heat race number 3. It's going to be Tony Ryanen leading the way, Harold Jatautis, then Jamantis and Seifert with Barika in your top 5. As we wait here, looks like the grid is assembled, and there come the lights on just as quick as you please. 3 lights on, as there goes the green, and we are racing here once again from Road America. Big bunch of wiggles there in the back of the field, already losing a couple of positions. This is Thorsten Seifert as well as Sakalauskas there losing a bunch of spots. We're going to be a little bit too wide here coming down in the first corner. Tony Ryanen able to hold on to that top place position. Jatautis going to follow him there behind, as it looks like Vince Vicious and Seifert going to be running 6th and 7th. Little bit of stack up here in the mid pack as the 202 tries to be able to get their way on by. That's DeBello trying to see if he's going to be able to hold off an attack here from Thorsten Seifert. Seifert down 4 positions since the drop of the green flag. That is not what you want to see here as you start things off. Up at the front of the field, Ryanen leads from Jatautis, trying to be able to see if there's going to be any fights here coming down. It looks like we've got a pretty close one farther back in the field here. A little bit of 2x2. Big dive there for Thorsten Seifert. Somehow able to make that work. I think that's Kagan Spark that went off in the background, and indeed the number 22 is going to find himself back down in 9th place position in this heat. As there you see the 119 of Valdez trying to fight his way forward. Oh, a little bit of contact there, I think, and that is going to be Valdez off and spinning into the dirt. The 119 not getting things right here to get this 3rd heat race going. Oh, and another spin. That is Kagan Spark getting it wrong, coming through the grass. I think he may have just touched a little bit of it there from Kagan, and that is going to be enough to be able to send that number 2 spinning around, so they are not going to be in good position there for that. Let's take a look at the replay, focusing here on the 202. That's focusing on the 22 of Spark, and I couldn't tell if there was contact there between themselves and the cars around them, but nevertheless, that damage has proved it out, and that is going to be Kagan back down into pit lane. We focus in on another close battle here, though. This is Navickas and Thorsten Seifert. Remember, Seifert down 2 positions since the drop of the green flag, trying to gain those positions back in here at this point to push his way forward. As there, Thorsten looks a little bit down to the inside, going into the final corner, but that's not going to be a position to play. But contact on the exit as Navickas there getting into problems and banging doors coming down the main straightaway. Navickas not happy about that, I've got to think. He's going to be able to get a little bit of the slipstream here. Is that number 237 machine, as here comes the AM driver on the Pro-Am entry, bobbing and weaving and bobbing, trying to find an opening, and it's just not going to present itself there for the 237. Going to be forced to stay in the line down through turn 1. Can we maybe see a little bit of a move here coming out of turn 3 and going down into the heavy braking zone of turn 7, or turn 5 rather? It doesn't look like it there. Navickas going to have to hold back a little bit. Didn't get the run they were hoping for, and now Byron DeBello is going to be in that equation as well. We check you back in on the front of the field as Tony Rannon and Harold Jatautis right now run pretty close to each other, less than 0.5 of a second separating these two. Jamantis runs behind them, about a second back here at this point. These top 2 have not changed position since the start of this race. Jatautis has attempted to attack here and there, but thus far Ryan has been able to hold him at bay for the moment as they work their way now down through turn 8. Both drivers able to get it well. Remember, these Porsche 992 Cup cars, no traction control, no ABS, which means you've got to be very careful and very smooth coming onto acceleration and going onto the brakes. You cannot apply too jerky of a movement here or you will find yourself in trouble. As here they come down through the kink. How are both of these drivers going to be able to fare this out? They fare it out well. They're through nice and cleanly as they now work their way towards Canada Corner. Down at the far end of this circuit. Onto the binders there for the penultimate time as they will be racing to the white flag, and the gap resolutely holding at about 0.48 of a second in between Raunen and Jatautis. Jamantis trying to be able to close in behind, and I gotta say there, that number 71 has been able to do just that. The gap tickled down under a second there as they work their way through Bill Mitchell-Benz, so all hope may not be lost here for Jamantis, but look at that. Raunen certainly feeling the pressure there, weaving a little bit, going down that start-finish straightaway. We also check you back with a little bit of picture-in-picture. That is going to be DeVello and Sakalauskas there in a close little bit of a battle. This will be 4P7 here as they try to duke it out. Jatautis up at the front of the field, trying to close in, staying at about 0.48 of a second. Here comes a move maybe from Sakalauskas. Not going to play itself out down into turn 1 as Byron DeBello will be able to hold on to that position for the moment. Meanwhile, your leaders working their way down the Moraine sweep right now. The 56 trying to close in behind. The gap coming down to under 0.4 of a second here as they go. Looking onto the binders here. Still not close enough. Is it going to be close enough here, though, for Brian DeBello as we keep our eyes focused on that split screen as here they come. Looking. Not able to do it. Not able to get it play. Sector 1 there. Identical times between Raunen and Jatautis as they run. This is a very close battle between very closely matched competitors. They work their way now out of turn 6 into turn 7. It looks like Raunen's been able to hold on the gap there a little bit longer. It's up to about 7.8 of a second as they come out of the carousel right now, working their way towards the kink. This could be the breathing room here that Tony Raunen needs to be able to hold on to that top place position. The gap comes down yet again. 0.5 of a second now for Jatautis. this could be the moment, but it could be a little bit too little too late here as they get onto the binders for Canada Corner. I don't think Jataudis is going to have anything for Rowden here today, as indeed they dive their way through Bill Mitchell Bend. 0.6 of a second the gap as the 48 starts to stretch a lead up at the front of the field here just a little bit as they go. Coming out of that final corner, Tony Rowden looking in good position, looking as they run, climbing the hill here as he comes across the line. 0.7 of a second, and Tony Rowden will take victory here in heat race number 3. Jataudis was quick, but not fast enough, as indeed Rowden takes the fastest lap of the race on the last time of asking. Jomantis finishes in P3, followed by Barica. Then it looks like it'll be Seifert and Navikas, followed by Sakalauskas, Debelu, and Vancevicius there in P9. Kagan Spark, a DNF on the day following those early troubles that we saw Kagan get into a little bit earlier, as there they continue to work themselves on through. There is your final finishing order as they ran in that penultimate heat race. Is indeed it is in time now to get gridded up for the final heat race of the night. And this one's going to have Philip Hammer in pole position. Sidonovis will be lining up in P2. Then it'll be Klipkas, Spetkins, Eduardus Klipkas, Rakazaukas, Krasitis, Bagonis, and then Callie Bagent there in P9, as she will be the back of the field. As there, the lights come on, and there goes the green. It's not the best getaway, it has to be said, for Philip Hammer. He may find himself in a little bit of trouble here as we've got contact. That is Callie Bagent open over there, unfortunately. Eduardus Klipkas also involved in that. Jakey GB, who is going to be there in that final position as they started from the pit lane. They come on out. Little bit of action here in the second and third positions as Sidonovis is finding himself there in P2, but Krasitis, Klipkas, and Rakasaukas are going to find themselves trying to push their way ahead here just a little bit, trying to put themselves in as good position as possible. Let's see if they are able to get themselves to go and be able to get anything to play here as they look their way down into turn 5. Multiple lockups there. Krasitis, Sidonovis off into the kitty litter. My goodness, just outbreaking themselves in sympathy, it looked like. But we've almost got 3 wide coming up into turn 6. Spetkins, Klipkas, and Bagonis. And that's going to be Jordy Spetkins off and into the grass, off and into the gravel. They're still side by side between Bagonis and Klipkas. Klipkas barely able to hold on to that P3 for now. My goodness gracious, chaos here in the early going of this race. Oh, have you ever seen such insanity? Absolutely ridiculous here. It's crazy to see as they get themselves going back around. We keep our eyes focused here. A nice little battle playing its way out a little bit farther back down in the field. This is Sidonovis trying to be able to see what he's going to do. That's the 69 there of Sidonovis getting off wide and trying to be able to hold things together. And oh my goodness, somehow everybody to be able to keep things together. They're going through the kink. A little bit of a move farther back down in the field. Spetkins trying to make positions. The 69 gets all out of shape as that is going to be Sidonovis off into the barriers. And there you see able to get himself back going, but just touched the grass there a little bit, and that was enough to be able to send them off and into that gravel. The 69 having a very, very rough day as Sidonovis went from second in this field all the way back down into a farther position here at this point. My goodness gracious, but that is of no concern here to Philip Hammer, who continues to lead the way at the moment, just absolutely bringing his way on through. As we take a look at a little bit of the split screen here, Hammer up to a 2.2 second advantage. Oh, a little bit of side by side, a little bit of contact, and that is enough to send Tadas Krasitis spinning off into the outside barriers. Very, very tough look there for them. But the 60 of Philip Hammer up at the front of the field continues to lead the way here at this point. Philip just doing what they need to do here in this final heat race of the night. We check back a little bit farther. This is the 169. This is Chrysaitis trying to be able to cane back in on any position that he is able to do. You can see the disadvantage there as the 69 takes a very wide line through the corner. Synovus able to get that to play over Callie Badgent there, I believe, and that is going to be able to get that move done. That'll move Callie back down into 8th place position, and it looks like there she's got a little bit of damage on the rear wing. That could hurt her as well. Looks like we may have had a little bit of a more problem up in the front of the field. Not entirely sure. Everyone continue to get themselves going around, but we focus here on Kleepkes as Eduardus tries to be able to close in on the back of that number 266 machine here as they go. The number 7 of Jordy Spetkins also trying to close back in on the gap on the back there of the 112, trying to see if there's going to be any room to be able to take an attack here, any room to be able to get themselves to go in any way to be able to get a move to play here. Nice little close battle between Callie and Kleepkes here. This is farther back down in the field. Callie tries to go defensive down to the inside of Canada corner, holding that out through Kettle Bottoms. That car looking very, very squiggly there. I definitely think there's some damage on that 266 machine as there she has to just let Kleepkes on by, and now Chrysaitis is going to be the one to try to make a move there up through Bill Mitchell Bend, almost banging doors. Callie off into the grass there. A very unfortunate run for her. Philip Hammer, though, up at the front of the field, setting another fastest lap of the race and continuing to pull away from the rest of the field. It's a very, very good run there for him. Jordy Spetkins, though, here trying to close down on the 112, trying to see if he's going to be able to get any move to play here at this point. It's still to be determined whether or not he's going to be able to get it to go. Let's wait to see here. All coming down to this 5th corner. It may prove to be very, very instructive here. Is Jordy Spetkins going to be able to get this run? 0.3 of a second the gap on the back of that 112. He's certainly going to look for the gap there going down to the inside, but not able to make it play. He'll have to stay in line here at this point, as it doesn't look like Turn 5 is going to present any opportunities there for that number 7 machine on by. We now jump on board here with the Alpha Esports driver as he tries to work his way around, looking this way, looking that way. Through the hurry downs they go. Not able to see anything. Here comes down into turn 8, closing down under braking is Spetkins, but is that going to be enough to be able to do it? They've still got to get the run here through the kink, down into Canada corner. That's going to really present itself as the last primary overtaking opportunity before this checkered flag flies. Philip Hammer, your leader right now, coming through Canada corner as we speak. There we get a beautiful split screen of it. Thank you to our director for being able to give us that. Hammer down through Bill Mitchell Bend right now. Only one more corner to go. Let's see what he's able to do as Philip Hammer brings the number 60 machine out of the final corner and climbs the hill. Meanwhile, farther back down, it just didn't look like there that Jordy Spetkins was able to close the gap down, and it's going to stay at about 0.4 of a second as Philip Hammer will take victory here in the 4th heat race. Rakazaukis will be in P2 there, and then Kleepkes will be in P3. Henrikas Kleepkes, that is. We take a look here as this battle between the 112 and the 127 and the 112 and the 7, is that going to pan itself out? No, it is not. They will stay in line. Synovus and Eduardus Kleepkes also battling it out here back down for P7. They will cross over the stripe with no change whatsoever, so they will stay in position there. Chrysaitis and Callie Badgent there will be your top 10. It looks like here in this 4th and final heat race of the day. Well, folks, that's going to lead us right on into even more racing action here today as we have the final drivers crossing over the line here at this point. And that's going to lead us here as into our final finishing order. There you can see Rakazaukis able to take victory in the Pro-Am, Magonis able to take victory in the Am category, and Philip Hammer obviously able to deliver a very, very good run up at the front of the field. And that is going to be fantastic running there for them. But we are ready here for the second heat, for the first consolation race of the day. And this will be another 3-lap affair as they bring themselves around, trying to see what they are able to do. Walton is going to be on the top of the the scoring pylon here, round into his outside. As there we get ready to go racing once again. The lights start to come on, and we're ready for another 3-lap affair here from Road America. As there they go. There's a car parked in the middle. I think that's Thornton Seifert. Absolute calamity off of the start here as multiple drivers involved in an incident, and that is going to really set things off. But up at the front of the field, it's going to be Walton, Maynard, Jatautis, Baumler falling down through the order big time. As there we've got multiple drivers having problems. The 105 is going to be off into the gravel. That's Misha Berger. Remember that fight we saw Misha have earlier, but it looks like there the Navitskas, Skardinkas, Begonis, and Seifert all going to have problems through turn 1 and turn 3. Everybody else able to keep themselves in relatively something resembling single file order here, as now they work their way on to the main, the back straightaway here at this point, trying to see if there's going to be any other moves to play out. As we watch here at this point, looks like that's going to be a little bit of a wide run there for Nicholas Maynard, and Maynard is spun! Maynard is spun! Absolute calamity here in semifinal number 1. My goodness, blink, folks, and you will miss the action here today. Lars Baumler holding on to P3 at the moment, up 2 positions, and Haraldus Jatautis up 2 positions as well. The only driver really in that top field that hasn't changed positions at all here is Alexander Walton, who continues to lead. But we focus here on the number 48 machine, Tony Round, and remember that was your driver to the outside of row 1, falling back 2 positions here early on. You've got to wonder if Tony's got a little bit more left in the tank to try to be able to push ahead and see what they are able to get as they work their way through the kink now for the first time, trying to see what they're going to be able to get to play here. The draft coming into big play for all of these drivers. A little bit of a look down into the inside there for Jamantis, trying to see if there's going to be any way to force him off the line. Don't count out Mantis Barica here as well, and Razanauskas, as they could be threatening. They're in this train as well. Little bit of a defensive move there from the 48 of Round, and I think he was feeling a little bit of pressure from behind from Jamantis, and just felt like they needed to cover that off and make sure nothing happened. But look at this run. This is the 47 of Lars Baumler. Tony Roundin right behind him. Jamantis right behind them. That's going to be the 48 of Roundin, poking their nose out of line here, trying to get that move down into the first corner. Here they come onto the binders, and that is going to be position regained for Tony Roundin. Move that number 48 car back up into the podium positions here into P3. Lars Baumler, though, looking like they want to fight back a little bit, but Jamantis may scupper that attack because the number 71 looks very threatening from behind. But here they come onto the back straightaway here through the Moraine sweep. Who is the draft going to favor? Who is it going to come back to bite a little bit? How will this shake itself out? There comes the 71. That is Jamantis trying to make that move on Lars Baumler. Thinks better of it. He's going to fall back into line. Those two are teammates, remember, as we've got a little bit side by side. That's Bariska and Razanauskas fighting it out right now. The 111 of Barica able to hold on to the position for now. Razanauskas going to try to make it work around the long way of turn 6. That's not going to play itself out, and the two will have to fall back into single file order here as they go down through the hurry downs, trying to see what they are able to get to play here at this point, trying to see if anything can fire itself off for these drivers. Take a little bit of a look at the split screen there, as that's the 291 machine on your screen a little bit farther down in the order. That's Sander Vermillion trying to close down on Kagan Spark, but this looks to be one of our better battles here as Razanauskas tries to put pressure onto the back of Mantis Barica, trying to see if he's able to get anything to play. That looks like it's spreading out a little bit, so let's jump you back up here to our battle. Jatautis being run down by Roundin, Lars Baumler, Jamantis, Barica, all close behind this, although it looks like Jamantis has fallen off the back a little bit, so it is a 4-car battle between Jatautis, Roundin, Baumler, and Jamantis here, and it looks like it could be breaking out into couplets ever so slightly as they try to be able to bring their way through. Looks like nobody's going to get a move there coming through the final corner, but the white flag will be in the air here momentarily for Alexander Walton, which will signal one more lap to go for all of these drivers. One more lap to go as Walton sets the fastest lap of the race on his way around there. The number 17 just doing what he did in the last round and doing it once again as Jatautis leads away over Roundin. Baumler, Jamantis, this is our closest battle out on track right now, and we split screen you with our other close battle. That is between Barica and Razanauskas as they try to fight it out a little bit going down into turn 3. Razanauskas thinks about trying to make a move, but that's not going to play itself out. Tries to go for a little bit of an over-under there coming through turn 3, and we'll see how that plays out. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field there, a little bit of side-by-side happening as we see that's the 911, that is a slower car out on the track, slowing itself down there and allowing for the leaders to get their way on by. No change in order, nor is there a change with Barica Razanauskas, but Kagan Spark has now entered into this equation, and Spark looks like they're putting a little bit of pressure to the back here of Vermillion, and indeed able to get that move to go. No, not able to get it done on Razanauskas as there, that 911 again, that is Begonis staying out of the way. Big move for the 48 of Tony Round, and down to the inside there of turn 8, muscling their way on by Haroldus Jatautis, and that is going to be position gained for Tony Round and back up to where that car started the race, up into P2. As now it looks like Jamantis and Baumler could have a little bit of a fight farther back down in this order. We keep our eyes fixed on that as they fly their way through the kink. No pokes out to the inside here at this point. Baumler and Jamantis, that's going to be where my eyes are on this battle. Does Jamantis have any response here going down into the final corner? No response there going down into Canada corner for the final time. Let's wait to see how they're able to play themselves out here, as there is your leader on split screen, Alexander Walton, doing what Walton has done best here today, just leading this field around, coming out of the final corner, onto the main straightaway and climbing the world-famous hill here at Road America. Alexander Walton leads the way. A good bit of weaving there behind as drivers try to be able to get their way out of the slipstream, and Walton will take victory, followed by Round and Jatautis, Baumler, Jamantis, and Barica. Looks like we've had a tow farther back. I think that may have been Kagan Spark getting into problems, and indeed it was, as Kagan had a big issue there going through that final corner, and that sent him off. And there you can see that problem as they go. Big problems there. And that is going to bring us around here into our final heat race of the day, our final race of the day. That is quite a bit of excitement, it has to be said, for all of these drivers. You really can never count out anything here at Road America because it will always seem to happen for you, I have to say, as they work their way now back around. Just waiting for a couple of stragglers here to finish up, as there you can see it was Alexander Walton able to take victory, as there is the 119, I believe. This is Valdis Vancerovicius that's going to cross over the line in the 119 machine, and that should be one of our final runners out there, I do believe, as we wait for everything to wrap itself up here at this point. Now, just to give you an idea of the rest of the format here, we are going to have another semifinal here that will determine your final finishing order, or final starting order, rather, for the feature event. And crucially here, that feature event will be 5 laps long, so adding a little bit more on to the time here today. And so that is going to be a very interesting way to round out the session here as they go, and wait to see here as we wait, I think, for Petka Vicious to cross over. I believe that is the last finisher there. You could actually see them streaking across your screen there in the 145 as they make their way back around and work their way through the final start-finish line here, and that is going to be the 145 coming out of that final corner, bringing their way up the straightaway. I think some pretty hefty damage there. As you can see, that steering wheel does appear to be a little bit bent, a little bit cockeyed, and that is going to be Linus crossing over the line in that 145 machine. So that will officially finish out your second event here. No, excuse me, we're still waiting for Misha Berger to cross over, it looks like, but Misha just crossed over the start-finish line, and now I can officially report that that will be the end of the event here here as there you take a look. Barica able to take victory in the Pro-Am category, and Vince Raviskus able to take victory there in the Am category. DeBello and a bonus rounding out the podium for the Ams. Razanauskas and Vermillion able to, and Maynard able to round out your podium for the Pro-Am category. But now it is time for your final semifinal of the night. Vince Peters going to be leading the way over Philip Hammer. Then it's Sipas, Rakazauskas, Bresky, and Klipkas, your top 6. I'm going to be keeping my eye open here on Peters and Hammer. That is a very, very interesting battle up at the front of the field, to say the least, as there the lights begin to come on here from Road America, and we get ready to go racing as the lights go out and drivers get on the loud pedal here. A little bit of wheel spin for the majority of our field. Not the best start there for Philip Hammer, as he's going to find himself falling back behind there. But we've got 3 wide behind between Sipas, Bresky, and Rakazauskas as they come down into the braking zone for turn 1. If they're able to sort this out and not have any issues, I'll be amazed. That's Kripkis going off there. I think Kundalis may have been involved in it, but Gonis, Klipkis, multiple drivers involved and out into the kitty litter here early on. My goodness, but the battles continue on through the field, as that is going to be the 112, the 113 with Jordy Spetkins now getting in the middle of that fight, trying to force his way into the issue and try to see what they are able to do here as they go down the Moraine sweep. Now it looks like Hammer here has been able to close back in. A little bit of side-by-side farther back down in the field. That's Rakauskas and Spetkins trying to be able to force their way through. Great over-munder move there from Sidanovas as he's able to get that down to the inside, trying to fight there on Rakazauskas, trying to see if he can make that work, trying to force the 113 off a little bit wide, and it looks like there that they were able to do it. Let's go back and take a look at the replay of this race. There's that 3-wide action that I talked about, and it looks like they're just a little bit of a bump from Bagonis there in that 269, and that was enough to cause that domino effect all the way through the rest of the field. Now as we watch a nice little battle starting to shape itself up for third place as Tim Bresky leads Mario Sipas, leads Joey Petrick. Petrick there in that red number 97 machine. You saw him just poke his nose out going through Canada corner, trying to see what he was able to do, what they are able to get to play. And here they come down into Canada corner, and not looking like we're going to see any passes there get made, but let's see what they are able to do. As there they come back up through Bill Mitchell Bend, working their way around right now. The number 97, that is Petrick, continuing to put pressure onto the back of Marius Sipas as they're going to come to the line here to complete their first of 3 laps in semifinal number 2. Bresky holding on positions up in front. A little bit of a defensive move from Vince Peters as he's feeling the pressure there from Philip Hammer. As Hammer's going to take a look down into the inside of turn 1. Thought about it, didn't go for it there, and they're going to stay single file order there. Bresky, though, continue to face a lot of pressure here from Sipas, and that is going to be Petrig able to get the move done. Petrig able to get his way on by. Joey Petrig up into 4th place here as they work their way out of turn 3. Now we watch the battle for the lead of this race. Vince Peters trying to get that pedal down. Philip Hammer seeing if he can force his rival into a little bit of a mistake here coming down into turn 5. Who is going to blink first? It looks like Peters takes a defensive line down into the braking zone. The 60 backs off a little bit, decides to not go for it there at that point. Now they push themselves ahead up the hill into turn 6. What can happen here? Looks like no moves there from Hammer, biding his time here clearly at this point, wanting to see what will play itself out. You never know what they will do here. Hammer taking a little bit of a look as Peters goes defensive. That won't play itself out as we take a look out the back there of Vince Peters' Porsche 992 Cup car. You can see just how close Philip Hammer truly is, and don't sleep on Tim Bresky there. If Hammer and Peters really start to scrap this out, I think we could see Bresky getting involved in this conversation, and indeed there, as Hammer falls off the pace a little bit coming through the carousel, maybe falls into the clutches there of Tim Bresky. A little bit of side-by-side farther back down in the field. That's Chrysaitis and Vilius trying to fight it out a little bit more. It looks like Chrysaitis is going to have the advantage now, as it looks like the 112 has been able to get their way by the number 1 machine there, as you saw on your screen. A little bit of an error there out of Marius Cepas, kind of allowing for that to happen, I think. And let's see what they are able to do as they work their way on to the start-finish straightaway. Whoa, big move there from the 69, trying to get out of the way. As right now, looks like no moves are firing off at the moment. And looks like there, as soon as I say it, we've got to move for the lead of the race. Philip Hammer trying to go around the outside of 1, trying to go around the outside of 3, looking to make their way play. The 60 tries to hold it out as we are on the white flag lap here from Road America. And what did I say? Tim Bresky right into the equation as they go. To see what they are able to get. Is this going to be the mood for them to make it? Here comes Hammer. Here he comes, trying to see if he's going to be able to make something to play around the long way around turn 5, but he's able to cover off the internal line there to prevent Tim Bresky from getting a move. We take a look from the camera positions from above here at this point. They're in single file order as they come up through turn 6. No room at the end there for Philip Hammer, but he certainly knows he's got the speed to try to challenge Vince Peters for the lead of this race. Now, as they work their way through the hurry downs, trying to find what they are able to get. Is anything going to become apparent here for these drivers? I don't see a move. Bresky looks like he's fallen back in the order just a little bit here at this point. Is that going to be enough to buy him a little bit of breathing room? Let's see what they want. Let's see what they get. Here they come, trying to see as they come through Canada corner. Hammer not able to get the run that I think he would have liked to there. But is he going to be able to make the run here down into Canada corner? He's flown through the kink. He's got one more corner to make a realistic opportunity at an attack here, and he's not going to be able to do it. Philip Hammer's going to stay in line there. Bresky holds on to P3 over an attack from Joey Petrik as they dove down into Canada corner. Up through Bill Mitchell Bend right now. Vince Peters leading Philip Hammer in the closest race we've seen thus far today, as here they come down into that final corner. Getting onto the loud pedal is Vince Peters, and closing in behind is Philip Hammer, but it is too little too late for the number 60, as there we see Vince Peters crossing over the line to take victory. We've got a drag race farther behind them. That's Rakazauskas and Kundalis, as they are going to be in it. Kundalis has the advantage right now, and it's growing at this point, and it's going to be Arturas Kundalis that takes 9th place away from Darius Rakazauskas there at the final minute. My goodness, you couldn't have drawn up a better race. Oh my goodness. Vince Peters going to certainly be riding high and mighty after that one. A great run there for Peters. A great one as they go. And that is going to be a good result there for them. We wait for the 2:15 of Jazowski we wait for them as they cross over the line. And we wait for the final race to take its place here today as Jazowski comes over there to finish in P20, it looks like. And there is Kleepkes, the 127, making his way through the kink right now. This is one of those drivers that was involved in that earlier incident, if you remember, that saw them spun off the wrong way around. Now they work their way down through Canada corner for the final time. It is going to be an early night here, unfortunately, for Eduardas Kleepkes, but that car certainly soldiering on, and that's what we love to see here in racing. We love to see them be able to work their way forward and see what they're able to do. As now coming through the final corner is the number 127, and they will come and take the checkered flag here from 21st position overall. Again, that will be 21st position overall there for them. And there you see just what that final finishing order was. As there it makes its way on through. Vince Peters able to take victory over Philip Hammer. Bannock able to hold on to P5 there, which was the win in the Pro-Am category. Then it's Rakazauskas, Chrysaitis, and Vilius there in your Pro-Ams. Callie Badgett with a great recovery after what was a very scruffy heat race. She's going to be able to find herself into 13th overall, but 5 laps down to go here at Road America. It is 5 laps to decide them all as everybody works their way on to the starting grid here at this point, trying to be able to get themselves locked in and ready to go as we have one final race to decide all the marbles here today. We wait for Philip Hammer and a couple others here to join the grid, it looks like. As you can see, stretching its way down the hill. That's just how large of a grid here we have as the lights begin to rise. As there go the lights, and we are racing in Road America. It's a good getaway from Alexander Walton. A little bit of scruffiness there behind us. We're almost 3 wide. Philip Hammer trying to make positions up at the very start no matter what. He's going to be trying to be able to make a move here on Tony Rounden. Rounden's going to have to hold in the line, and Hammer's not done. Trying to make a move there on Vince Peters, but has to check himself up out of it, and that'll be Rounden up into P3. That'll be Rounden down into P4. Hammer up into P3. There's Hammer taking another look. Still a little bit of 2x2 back down through the field here at this point as they make their way through turn 3 for the first time. Is anybody be able to hold themselves out here and keep everything together? It certainly looks that way, at least up into the top 5. Alexander Walton tries to pull away here at this point, tries to be able to see what he's able to get done as they look into turn 5. I think that was Joey Petrig taking a big look down to the inside, almost making contact there with the 112, but somehow managing to avoid it. As there we see a little bit of a move. I believe that's the number 7 there. That may be Jordy Spetkins trying to make a move. No, excuse me, that's the 71 machine. That's Jamantis trying to be able to make a little bit of a move. Contact there between the 1 and the 69. That's going to be Cepas and Sidanovas. There, somehow they managed to escape unscathed from that. Jordy Spetkins now trying to take a little bit of an advantage here as the 92 tries to see what they are able to do. Kundalis working their way through the order. Sidanovas has been off. That's the 69 falling back down through the order. And here's a little bit of side-by-side. Jamantis and Petrig leaning on each other as they come through the carousel. Absolutely leaning on each other there as they continue now 2 wide through the kink. That is going to be Petrig ahead of Jamantis. I'm not sure how he was able to pull that one off, but somehow was. Now the 13 of Tim Bresky is going to be put offline a little bit, having to go defensive down into Canada corner. The 71 trying to hold more speed there around the outside. Who's it going to be? It's going to be the 71 getting it wrong. Jamantis falling down through the order, and he will have to wait until all other cars have cleared him. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, we've got ourselves a battle. Alexander Walton leads Vince Peters here. Philip Hammer only about a half a second behind, and Tony Rounden about 0.4 of a second behind Hammer. So a battle certainly starting to develop itself up in the top positions is indeed Vince Peters already taking a little bit of a look and an aggressive move down into turn 1. Decides to poke his nose back in the line, but I think there that he is showing Alexander Walton he is not afraid. Let's take a look back at the restart, though. We can see a little bit of this calamity. Just a big check up there. Recognize a little recognize now is a lot of damage there. That car definitely the worst for wear after that big coming together that signaled the beginning. If you are one of those drivers that was involved in that. But here comes Philip Hammer. We said he wasn't going to wait around, and he certainly is not, as Hammer makes a move coming through turn 6, and that's going to put the number 60 up into P2. But crucially, as a result of that battle, Hammer has lost about 1.3 seconds up to Alexander Walton. He's going to have to gain that back up in the closing 3.5 laps that remain in this race. Remember, this is a 5-lap feature event here, a 5-lap event for all of these drivers as they come out of the carousel right now, bringing their way around. Vince Peters trying to be able to gain in on that position that he already lost to Philip Hammer, but is Hammer out of draft range? Could this be absolutely detrimental to the cause of Philip Hammer? He's 1.3 seconds behind your leader, Alexander Walton, and as anybody who knows these Porsche 992s will tell you, that may just be out of overall draft range. We check back a little bit farther in the field as this is the 291, holding on as much as possible. The 123 trying to put a little bit of a move there in behind. That's Villius, Vermillion, and Kleepkes that all run together there. Kleepkes just holding on to the background. Now it looks like Kleepkes is going to be the one on the attack, trying to see what he is able to do. Not able to get a run there, going down through that final corner. Will they find it elsewhere? Oh, and that's going to be an off. That's going to be a massive off there for that number 123. Oh, my goodness. Villius getting it all wrong, and no doubt we'll have to come back down into pit lane. We check you back in on that battle up at the front of the field here at this point, though. Philip Hammer continuing to lead over Vince Peters. Walton up at the front trying to extend his championship advantage. This is the battle a little bit farther back down that we go split screen with. This is Joey Petrick in the number 112. Look at that long train of cars caused by that number 112. This is going to be a long run. Petrick needs to try to get around him and get around him quickly if he wants to have any chance of being able to make it to fight here up to Harold Jatautis. And that's going to be Petrick trying to go the long way around the outside there of turn 5. That can work sometimes if you've got the tenacity to pull it off. It looks like Petrick is not going to be able to get it clear. He's going to have to go too wide again through turn 6. This can get a little bit sketchy as he's going to be able to not hold it off. He keeps the car together, but Joey Petrick finds that attack coming up for naught here at this point. Oh, such a close running here as they go. Don't blink and you may miss a little bit of a battle. My goodness gracious. Hammer, though, still not able to close in on the back of Walton, nor it looks like is Petrick able to make that run here that he really wants to make over the back of the 112 as they work their way through the kink. I'd call us about halfway done through this 5-lap affair here at this point. As here they go. Down into Canada corner. Doesn't look like Petrick's got enough of a run. Neither do Bresky or Baumler behind them. We've got another little bit of a close battle here. This is the number 69, Sinanovas, trying to fight off Vince Raviscus here as they work their way through Canada corner. That's not going to be a move that plays itself out. Let's see if they can maybe make this happen a little bit later on in the lap, but it looks like the 69 able to hold on here in good stead. I'll tell you who else is holding on. That's Philip Hammer. Vince Peters trying to make an attack from behind, but it's just not quite enough to make play. And now Peters has got to watch out. Tony Randon's behind him, as it now looks like Joey Petrick's going to try for a move going down into turn 1. Looks contact with the 112, and that's going to be Petrick spinning. That's the 112 off, and the 13 of Tim Bresky says, thank you very much, I will take those positions. A little bit of a lucky day there for them, and that is going to be it. Let's take a look at that replay, and there you can see it. Petrick, I think, just didn't anticipate that 112 being there to the outside, and that was enough to be able to cause enough of a problem, and that is going to be enough to send both of them plummeting down through the order. But we're not done with the battles here, because now it is going to be Tim Bresky who holds on. Lars Baumler not too far behind him, Marius Sipis and Arturas Kundalis now making up the 4-car train here. Vince Peters has had an off a little bit in front. That's going to be coming out of turn 7. He's able to gather it up back up underneath him, but that time's going to do him no favors that he lost. As we focus here on that number 1, Marius Sipis trailing behind the 47 of Lars Baumler here as they work their way through the carousel right now. Let's see if anybody's able to get the run off of the line that they certainly know they want to get. Set themselves up into Canada corner. Let's see what they're able to do. Let's see what they're able to play for here at this point. As they come down here through the kink, down through Canada corner right now. This is the battle up for P2. Philip Hammer just not able to make inroads there on Alexander Walton, but Vince Peters trying to hold off an attack from Tony Rownan. We ride on board with Peters here. You can see, as there is that off that I talked about a little bit earlier. Just ran the car a little bit too wide. I think picked up some understeer there coming off of the corner and had to cut that a little bit close. But now here comes the attack from the 48 of Tony Rownan. Brilliant getaway there off the final corner as they run to the white flag here. Rownan is going to have a nose ahead by the time they cross over the start-finish stripe, and indeed enough so that Vince Peters is going to have to tuck back in behind, try to get a little bit of that draft to play. He's going to try to make this look around the long way, but Rownan covers the door and holds on to that 3rd place and final podium position for now. And now as they work their way out of turn 3, trying to see what they're going to be able to get played, does Peters have another attack left in him? Is Peters going to be able to make this move? Is Peters going to be able to claim onto that final podium position, or are we going to see this fight just continue to drag on out here at this point? There's Peters down to the inside, shutting the door. That was a driver off in front. No worries, that's Mensis Barica. That is one of the drivers that is already a lap down. As here they come. They've also got to watch out here for Harold Jatautis, who isn't too far behind as well, as that could be a little bit of a run-in if they're not careful. Peters continuing to put pressure here to the back of Rounden, trying to see if anything is going to play, anything's going to be enough to make this work. There you see a little bit of contact further back down in the field there, a little bit of a scruffy run down through those tricky corners that start turn 5 and turn 6, and somehow after that contact into 5, everybody was able to make it through nice and cleanly. Now, here as we follow Rounden, holding off Vince Peters. Peters only about 0.17 of a second behind, but he runs wide on the kink, and that is going to scupper any chance Vince Peters has of being able to make this move work. Just picked up a little bit too much aero wash, and that is going to be, I fear, the battle for P3 done and dusted. But how about this, folks? At the front of the field, Alexander Walton leads the way, and it comes through the final corner now with 1.2 seconds to spare over Philip Hammer. Does a fantastic job, and for the second time running, it will be Alexander Walton up on the top step of the podium. It will be Philip Hammer following him on home here in this position. And then in third place, it will be Tony Rounden, Vince Peters, Harold Jatautis. A couple of good battles farther back down in the field. Spetkins trying to hold off Nicholas Menard here, just barely able to do so at the line, as Jordy Spetkins will be able to hold on to that position. So we look a little bit farther back down here, waiting for Vermillion to cross over the 271. Finally able to do so there at this point, as well as all drivers finish up here and be able to get themselves to go. We take a look there at a little bit of a problem there for the 71 through the final corner. That's Germantis just pushing too hard at the final stages of this race. You hate to see that there for him. Very, very tough break. There you see a couple of puffs of smoke there for the drivers who enjoy their way to finish. We've got plenty of drivers here, unfortunately, that did not see the end of the race, but plenty that did here at this point, and we are all happy to see them come across the stripe here in the last couple of moments as everybody does their victory lap around the famed Road America circuit. Nicholas Menard, your winner in the Pro-Am category. A fantastic run there for them. And let's not sleep on Sander Vermillion here as well, as able to take victory there in the AM class. But again, the story, the class of the field here today, Alexander Walton, absolutely dominant up at the front of this field, exactly what he needed to do and when he needed to do it. Absolutely pixel perfect run there today for him. It was a fantastic run all the way around. We wait for the last couple of drivers here to still finish. As remember, we said a couple of them involved in that early incident. They've got to kind of make their way back around, but you cannot say enough about the two races that we've seen here from Alexander Walton to be able to show up time in and time out under pressure, able to respond to the pressure, able to get themselves working, able to put themselves in prime position. It's just a fantastic drive here for that number 17 machine. You've got to respect it there for them. It was a very, very good run, and one that I think they will be very happy about. And will once again solidify Alexander's position at the top of the field here for points. So it looks like we've got a driver there just having a little bit of fun off to the side of the circuit. I think that may actually be Mensis Barica. Just having a little bit of fun there as they go, as you see your leaders working their way back around right now. We wait, I think here, just for Barica to maybe finish up, and I'm not sure if Mensis has realized that they have finished. Oh, I'm watching the car now. The car's under a lot of distress here as he tries to be able to work his way back around to get to a stationary position and to be able to cross over the line. As there you see Alexander Walton taking those victory laps, taking those victory burnouts, as they are well-deserved here today. Very, very well-deserved indeed, as they're your finishing order up at the top of the standings as they go, taking that little bit of a glory pose, as it were, for the drivers. As I can report that your last driver to finish, Barica, is making his way up the hill at this point, so have no fear. You love to see that response out of all drivers, that they just want to finish this race, finish with a good time. A little bit of contact there for Barica as he desperately tries to inch that that Porsche, that number 111, across the line. Gets it in gear. Come on, we can do it here. As there you see him, tries to wheel out a little bit, as we've got a little bit of time here. Let's go ahead and chat with some of our victors on the day. A sensational run for them, I think. To start off with, let us get a go here with, well, let's go with the number 127 machine. Had a little bit of a rough run out there. Excuse me, we actually have your leader right now, Nicholas Maynard. This is your victor in the Pro-Am category. Nicholas, a great run there out for you. A little bit of an up and down heat races, but you were able to show up when the time came.
Yeah, this series has been some of the most fun I've had, so it's good just to come out here and know you got to run hard from the start, and it's been good.
Well, talk to me a little bit about the challenges that a heat racing format on the road courses presents for a driver. I've got to imagine that this is a little bit stop and start, you know what I mean? That you've got to kind of get yourself psyched up and then you have to remove yourself. Do you find that a challenge as a driver?
Absolutely, yeah, it's definitely completely different. You're going hard for 3 laps, and then you're sitting for 10 minutes, and then you got to go again. So yeah, it's a new, unique challenge I've never experienced before. So happy to take part in it, and it's been a great learning tool as well.
Well, I'm sure it has. And as we turn our eyes in 2 times out to VIR, another classic American road circuit, how do you think the chances will go on that?
Ooh, I love VIR, so hopefully it'll go better here. I won't make any dumb mistakes, but definitely looking forward to it. It's a great track.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well. Nicholas, thank you so much, and congratulations on a class win here today.
Thank you guys for doing this. Thanks for announcing. It's been great, and I look forward to watching the replay.
All right, thank you, Nicholas. That was Nicholas Maynard, your winner here from the Pro-Am category. And now we've been able to catch up with your overall winner and winner from the Pro category, Alexander Walton. Alexander, 2 times the charm, 2 races, 2 wins. This has got to be feeling pretty good for you.
Yes, I couldn't have hoped for a better start to the season. Yeah, a big help was doing well in quali in both races, so I kind of stayed out of trouble. And yeah, looking forward to the next races. Hope to repeat, but it's very close for the podium we saw today. And yeah.
Well, I mean, it looked like you were the dominant force out there. Did you have any moments of worry?
Well, I certainly had to push hard today to maintain the gap, and we saw how fast it is for the podium. So yeah, I know I have to keep working hard for the next races.
Well, that next race is VIR. Is that a favorite of yours, or is that one of those ones that it's just kind of hard to find the rhythm on?
I've never raced it, but I'm very much looking forward to it. It should suit me. I like these kind of technical tracks.
Well, fantastic. Alexander, we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Thank you.
All right, that was Alexander Walton there, and now we've been able to catch up with your 3rd place driver, Tony Raunen. Tony, a good run there out for you today. It looked like every time I looked up, you were in the midst of an intense battle. How was it behind the wheel?
It was a tricky day today. I didn't have the pace, and yeah, doing a lot of mistakes. On the start, I was getting in the heat race, I got the wheel spin, and yeah, a lot of action today.
Well, I mean, talk to me a little bit about you know, your preparation here at a place like Road America that is so draft dependent, does that change the way that you kind of approach getting ready for the race, or is it pretty much just every track on its own?
Yeah, it's for me. It's quite similar. This one was I didn't have enough time to prepare because super busy at the moment. But yeah, that's why I didn't have the pace to fight with the guys.
Well, are you going to have more time to prepare for next time out at VIR?
I really hope so. I really hope so. But yeah, I hope so. Should be good.
Well, Tony, we will see you there, and we wish you all the luck in the world between then and now.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That was Tony Raunen, your your third place finisher there in the pro category. And folks, that's about going to wrap things up for us here, unfortunately, as it looks like we've been able to talk to the majority of our folks who want to come in and talk to us. But do not go anywhere. As we said, in 2 weeks' time, we head out to VIR and we set up and do it all again. But on behalf of everyone here who was involved on the team today, especially on behind the scenes at OBS Motorsports, it's a real pleasure to be able to bring you the racing action here today. It is always a pleasure to be here on live for the OBS Super Cup, this one live from Elkhart Lake, as we take a look there at those final finishing order. And you've got to remember here, folks, that this is a very, very tough series. You heard Alexander Walton talk there about just how difficult it is. And so for these drivers to be able to turn it on and turn it off like they do, it's a very, very impressive feat, and we are always constantly impressed by them. But we will see them all out again at VIR in 2 weeks' time. You are not going to want to miss that, because it is going to be an absolutely insane race from one of America's greatest racing circuits. But until we see you then, and until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.
Pursue your automotive passion, thrive, and make money.